is Jason J. Rock Houston, and you're listening to Chaotic Riffs Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriffs.com. And our special guest today is Sons of Fire drummer Bill Nychay. Welcome to the show, Bill.
What's up, buddy? How you doing, Jason?
All right. Now, Sons of Fire, from what I understand, is fairly a new band. You guys were kind of formed on the ashes of some previous bands. I was curious, Bill, were you one of the founding members? Did you know the other guys from the local music scene, or how did you guys all hook up?
Yeah, we were actually from San Diego. I'm in Austin right now. But,
okay.
My previous band was Kids and Kate.
Okay.
And we came out 2008, 9, 10, about that era, probably about the same time of In This Moment, Hollywood Undead.
Oh, okay.
Did a bunch of stuff there, did a bunch of tours. I mean, we really made a good splash. Played with all the Jägermeister music tours, Disturbed, Seven Dust, 3 Days Grace, you name them. We played with all the bands of our genre. And then, things changed and kind of went on a little hiatus. And then we took a break, and that hiatus ended up being semi-permanent. So I moved to Austin at that time, and then Johnny and Chuck and Trevor started a new project, which was originally was called 91 Proof. And they dabbled with it, but really didn't do anything with it. And then last year, I listened to some of the new songs that they sent out to me, the demos. Yeah. And it was pretty cool. So they said, hey, would you be interested? I said, well, I'm interested if we have another singer that you guys don't currently have, because Trevor actually was a lead singer. Okay. Now he's just on guitar, but there was a band called One Theory out of San Diego. And Darren's a really heavy metal singer, but when he would play when they would play their songs, once they would hit the choruses, it was really melodic. Yeah, yeah. And I said, man, if we could ever get this guy, this would be a match made in heaven. So I said, I'll join if we can get Darren in the band. And then Darren agreed. Then we did the fly back and forth thing and sent tracks to everybody. They all had home studios at their house with Pro Tools, and sent up stuff to me. They came out, rehearsed. And the rest is history. It kind of gelled. It's like 5 totally different. I mean, you couldn't be more different guys of musical taste, but when you put it together, it comes out to this unique mix. And I think there's another magazine that said, it's not techno, it's not rock, it's not blues, it's not country, it's not soul, it's not metal, it's not thrash, it's not. We're a rock and roll band.
Yeah, just let me say something on that front. In prepping for this today, Bill, I went on YouTube and I was checking out some of your guys' tunes. And I was listening to the song "Loins of Rock and Roll." Okay, and I made the comment on there. This is rock and roll the way it's made to, the way it's made to be made, or but it should be made. Yep. And you're exactly right, because listen to all these tunes and they sound somewhat familiar in a sense. Like they all belong in the same EP together, but at the same time, all the tracks stand out really on their own. And I dare say that, for example, Son of a Bastard Man, that's one of my favorite tunes. I like Leroy Jones. I would call that kind of like a rock and blues tune. I mean, it's definitely rock and roll, but it's got kind of a blues twist. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Which tune was that?
Okay, well, I was saying, one of my favorite tracks on here is Son of a Bastard Man. And then
Are you talking about For Us?
Oh, because I went, I went on YouTube and I was and had you.
You're probably looking at there's other bands out there. We've got 4 songs on there. None of them are that title.
That's kind of interesting because your publicist did send me like a link. I'm glad I have you on to kind of clear this up, because and I heard that, and then I went on YouTube, and maybe this is another band. It looked like the same logo. It had Faded, but then it had these other songs on there. So that's kind of
all wrong. Yeah, people have said that in the past.
Yeah,
none of those songs are ours.
So I thought this might be,
for some reason, there's like a Sun's in Fire and then a Sun's on Fire. The only song that's out there to the public right now is our single Faded.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
so
that's what a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people are looking at. That's really all they're really commenting is on that song, because the other ones haven't been released yet.
Interesting.
The street date to the record is the 25th.
That's what I thought.
Friday.
Interesting, because again, I did hear the single Faded, and then when I went on there, I thought maybe there's some older tunes. That's why I was asking, and they didn't really sound like Faded, but it sounded like it could have been the same band. That's interesting. Okay, well, so talk about
Which is good. So I mean, I'm glad you liked it, but Fate is really the only one that we have out there right now.
Okay. Well,
for some reason, there's a link or something on there through either Amazon or somebody else that put a wrong link that has other songs that aren't on there.
I suggest you later, somebody in the band, go check it out because it's on YouTube. I just typed in Sons of Fire, and then I was looking.
It's Sons on. It's do Sons on, not in. It's
okay. Well, I was just going to let you know because they include your single Faded. That's why I was a little confused. And so,
a little crazy. Yeah.
Wow. So talk about the name of the band, which we obviously have. But how did you guys come up with it? Because when your publicist sent me the PR, a press release, the name kind of caught my eye. Oh, that's a cool sounding name.
So basically what we did is it used to be 91 Proof, and that sounded a little bit too country or too southern rock, and then we went back and forth, and we're all sons. And then the fire and the sun lining up, it was kind of all of us wanted to always be in other bands with each other, and we never had that moment. So now it's like suns, and the sun and the stars and everything aligned, so we kind of said Suns on Fire and put the sun in front of it with the moon, and it was like just lining everything up like this is the time.
Wow.
Over the last couple of years that we've always wanted to play, there's never been that perfect time, and this was a time where nobody had anything going on. Everybody was sitting around. Obviously, COVID hit, but we didn't know that last year. And then once we got in the room, I think we might have been in the room, a dozen times. And in that time, we rehearsed a dozen times. We played one show in San Diego, sold out.
Wow.
And then COVID hit. And we sitting there going, well, now we got this record, and it's coming out. And by the way, we just got the early reports yesterday. We were the #1 most active added rock to the secondary markets and #2 on Billboard Rock Indicator.
Wow.
Our first day out. So, I mean, coming out with a #1 and a #2 most added to radio with a brand new band is huge. I think that's probably the first time in the label's history that that's happened. So, I mean, we definitely came out with a bang, and a lot of people took notice of that.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot. I mean, you can only go down from here. That's the bad thing, is everybody's like, well, we wish we would have came out like 20 or 10, and then you can see yourself gradually go up. But starting at the #1 and 2 spot, you're not going to be there forever. So.
Yeah, how cool is that, though? I mean, that's a pretty good place to start, and that is a big thing, Bill, when you stop and think about it, because you're signed to a pretty cool little label there, Pavement Entertainment. They got a lot of great artists on their roster. I mean, just to name a few, you got Candlebox, which was a big, alternative band back in the '90s, and then they came back a few years ago, got signed to Pavement. So I mean. I don't even think...
They got Puddle of Mud, they got Candlebox, they have Tantric Bands, PD, they've got Dishwalla, they've got Mark's band, The Outfit.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of bands, and I've known Mark for years. I mean, I've done most of the records I've done in my life. I probably did 8 or 9 records. They've all been done with Mark from Pavement.
Oh, wow.
And he knows it. We've been family friends all our life. I trust him, he trusts me, we work well together. Then you throw in Tim King from Soil. Obviously, that guy's got a ton of history behind him.
Yeah.
So it's like the team that's behind there, and then Barbara, Papa George. I mean, it's like it's a dream team. It's like everybody's on the same sheet of music, and we've got relationships that they don't have. They have relationships we don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, we were played on radio before, so we have a lot of those relationships. It's making everything a lot easier. And then to come out the way we did, that's the reason why.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Barbara, I've never met her face to face, but she sent me a lot of great bands to interview over the years, and she's a great PR person. She's really great at what she does. Yep. And Tim King, you were mentioning, many people know him also as a bass player from Soil. And see, what I love about this little label is the fact that you got like a guy like Tim King behind the label, who is an actual musician himself, and he's actually lived the life. It's not just some guy in a suit who's like, hey Bill, I don't hear a single. Go back and write me something that's a little more radio friendly.
Yeah, I mean, he's lived it, he's done it. He's been in the trenches. He knows both sides. He knows the side from the band side of the struggles of the band, trying to get the label to take notice. I mean, he's got the side of the label side telling the bands, listen, the label's one thing, but you have to help yourself. The label is not the magic trick like it used to be in the 80s or 90s, where they throw a bunch of money at you. The bands actually have to work.
Yeah.
And that's what's the good part of this. It's a match made in heaven, because we don't sit back. We've got these relationships that we've worked on. And you know what? Yes, the song's got to be good.
Yeah.
But you have to have a team behind you to do this. You just can't do it on your own.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think it says a lot about the fact that you guys are such a new band, #1 already. That's, on the Billboard, that's what an accomplishment, And and like you said, you can only grow. I mean, and the fact that the album's not even out. I mean, here's what I'll say about it, Bill, is the fact that all this is happening before the EP has even officially been released, which, as you said, is the 25th in a few days on Friday. And
Yep.
and you know, so it's all happening really fast. But that's the thing I can say to you, Bill, is that I dig the fact, like you said, you're kind of toying with the idea, oh, all this is going on with COVID. I know a lot of bands that have either kind of held off on releasing new music until all this is over. And so I dig the fact that not only you guys are a new band, but you're not holding off on releasing you're like, okay, well, maybe we can't go on there and tour right now, but let's still put it out there, see what people think. I mean,
there's a couple sides to look at this. You can either say, listen, we can go out right now and say, okay, we can put this out right now. Our view it is, there's a lot of things people can't do right now. I almost think we have more people's attention because there's not a lot of things open or going on. So our view was, it might suck to open it right now or do it right now. COVID's happening because you can't tour, but I think we might have people's attention a little bit longer than if something else was going on. Maybe there's other bands. Well, if you look, there's not a lot of bands releasing new music during this time. And we said if we release it now and we have less competition and we're new, we have more eyeballs on us, there's less people going out to bars or going to concerts. I mean, people don't have anything to do right now except pass the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot like Austin down here. A lot of this stuff is still locked down. So, I mean, I'm finding myself online doing more things, so we're hoping more people will have more free time to check out stuff and do things, and hopefully we stick out more for that.
Yeah, and hopefully, like you said, by the time you are able to get out there and tour and do live shows again, people will be more familiar with the music if it's out there a little longer, give them a chance to kind of really sink their teeth into and check out what you guys are all about, you know?
Yep, totally.
And, I got to say, just based on the one track that I have heard that's officially you guys, Faded, the title track, great track. It's I could see it being like a radio hit, like you said, kind of real melodic, but it's a great way
We're getting a lot of comparison to like a Theory of the Dead Man, like Bad Girlfriend or some of the other songs that they have.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I really don't like, I wish we could have timed this more towards the summer, like maybe coming out in April or May.
Yeah.
Coming in the summer, because I think this is a good time party summer outdoor song. And hopefully that the song lasted until next summer, but this is a really good party song and a summer song and an anthem song. And, just hopefully now, we can still carry that over. I mean, the rest of the singles are going to be good, but this is really one that, and we've had a really good response. Everybody that we've not heard one person. I wish somebody would say, I'm really not digging it.
Yeah, I think it is a great song to introduce people to the band to, because, just listening to that one track myself, I could tell, it's a really great written tune. I mean, that's one thing when I listen to music, I like, songs that kind of tell a story. You listen to the lyrics and it's just that's why a lot of my favorite bands, they've lasted 40, 50 years because they know how to write a hit song and they write songs got great hooks and everything. That's what you need to kind of get people's attention, at least in my mind, Bill. And I think it's cool that like I said, you chose to introduce your band with that single because, like you said, people are just reacting to it so, in such a fantastic way. I mean, I'll just tell you this much, Bill, is I got probably about a week ago, your publicist, Barbara, you mentioned, she sent me a press release on the band, and I said, oh, yeah, they look like a pretty cool band. Yeah, I'd like to interview them. Let's set something up. And I tell you, from in the last week since setting up the interview with you, I've been going on Facebook every day, just seeing ads about your band, and I don't know what it is, but people are just reacting. And, maybe, like you said, maybe it'd been better to do it in the summer, but it seems like the right time is now. I don't know why, but it just is.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, we try not to take it. I mean, we all grow up. We're a little bit older now. And, back in the day, you'd say, I'm going to write a song about sex and drugs and rock and roll, angst and this. And right now, we're like, listen, we've got enough life experiences in us now when we weren't kids before, that we have real life experiences you can actually pull from and write from. Yeah. And this is just one of those tongue-in-cheek songs, girlfriend issues or whatever it is. And it's like, everybody can relate to that. We didn't want to recreate the wheel. We wanted something that was real easy, something that was hooky, something that was memorable, something that you could bounce your head to, someone you could stamp your foot to, and then you can remember it. And people people are remembering it in such a short time that it's been out. I mean, we've got 6-year-old kids that are dancing.
Wow.
We've got older people that are dancing. So it's like this. It's the craziest thing because we've got all this stuff against us right now. COVID, all these other things going on in the world, riots, and election year, and all this crazy stuff. And this is our way to kind of take your mind away from that and not get involved in the everyday bullshit and just sit back, drink a beer, take a breath, and listen to music. And that's what we want to do. We want you to forget about all the garbage in the life and the world and just chill out and listen to something new,
That's great. That's great because, music for me and a lot of people has always been like the universal language. It's the one thing that typically can bring people together, or like you said, it could just, if you're having a rough day or, life's not going so great right now, it can help you get your mind off things,
That's it. You said it right there. Bring people together. Right now, there's not enough of that.
Yeah.
The world's gone crazy, and hopefully soon all that will change. But if we could change a couple people's minds or change a couple people's the way they're going through their day, then so be it. We just think social media, the land of social media, it wasn't as big as what it used to be years ago. I mean, it was just starting to get big. Napster was coming out, MySpace was coming out. I think now with everything that's at your disposal, you have access to so many people. You just have to tap into it and put the work into it.
I mean,
a lot of bands just think you sign a deal and you sit back and everything's going to be taken care of for you. Well, part of that's true, but ultimately it comes down, you got to have a hit. I mean, if you got a song, then it's great. But if you got duds, nobody's going to do anything. A dud's always going to be a dud. It doesn't matter if you come out on Warner Brothers or you come out on a small label. You got to do the work and you got to have something that's good, number one, and then have the right team behind you.
I mean, people forget back when, grunge was breaking out in the early 90s. I mean, a lot of the established bands, even like a band like Van Halen, they were getting dropped by their record label at the time, because everybody was just wanting to sign nothing but grunge. And even the bands that have been around for years and been proving themselves, they were being dropped, but everything has a cycle, like you said, Bill. Everything, kind of comes around. And it's kind of interesting as we sit here because I got to ask you, I think it's cool that you guys are putting out some new music, but probably, even based on the one single I've heard, Faded, like you're saying, that's such a great track, and I love it so much that when the album comes out, I want to go out and buy it. So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, as far as will people on Friday be able to get physical CDs if they want? Is it going to be just available?
Actually, it's coming out. Yeah, right now it's coming out just strictly digital.
Okay.
But there is, obviously, with the result and the response we're getting, obviously having a tangible copy or something in your hand is something we're obviously going to want to do.
Yeah.
And we went around with this in the beginning, because we kind of said, listen, where are people getting their music? And, are they just downloading? Is anybody buying CDs anymore? If so, who's going to take it? Walmart going to take it? Days of the big old local chain restaurant or chain record stores that were out there, a lot of mom and pops are gone. So it's like, let's start this since it's a new band. We didn't know what to expect. Let's start this with purely digital. And if there's a demand, then we'll make it.
Well, I hear you.
People will be surprised. I think people will be surprised with the other songs that are on this because while Faded is great, my choice and what I wish we would have went with, I mean, not now what I know now, but I think Just a Man is a great song. Just a Man's a rockin' song. And then Paralyzed is a very different, it's funny, people say it's blues, people say it's punk, people say it's rock, people say it's metal, which is cool because you got all different
influences,
all different theories on what they think that song sounds like. Where it's, to me, it sounds like almost like a modern day Green Day kind of punk rock song, and that's the way I played the drums. I think that's what I kind of did the drums to. But I think that's a great song. And then you do the Broken Dreams. It's a different kind of a slower type song. And that's another good song. And it's like, people say that's kind of a throwback to the old Metallica. And it's like, I don't hear that, but I'm like, where do people get these? Where are they hearing this from? But I think it's because, again, 5 different guys, 5 different musical tastes. Darren would go with, maybe, he likes everything from Waylon Jennings to Metallica and thrash and the real heavy stuff. And then you got Trevor, who's, Waylon Jennings and Elvis and, rock stuff. And you got Chuck, that's 80s metal trapped into a modern day guy. And then you got me and Johnny are kind of the old school guys, the Motley Crues and the Dios and Van Halen. And it's like, you put this together and it comes out, but it's weird for somebody to tell you, the same song, somebody will say it's blues, somebody will say it's punk, somebody will say it's rock. And it's like, maybe all of our influences are shining through. I don't know.
That's probably very true if you stop and think about it. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I'm sure oftentimes you'll get two people coming up to you and saying, this is a great song or whatever, and this is what it means to me, and you're like maybe thinking, well, wow, that's not what we wrote the song about, but okay, if that's what you got out of it, that's great,
Totally.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different thought of what everything means, and they all have a different thought of the style that it means.
Yeah.
But that's what's cool, is if it's good, it doesn't matter what style it is.
Yeah.
A song is a song. And if it can translate into many genres from the same song, then you know what? It just opens up the demographic to that many more people to like it.
You said it right there, Bill, and I think what makes it...
Let me throw something back on you.
Yeah,
remember Extreme?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Extreme, I don't know if you remember this, but I mean, back in the day, I think you interviewed those guys, Diamond REXX.
Yeah.
I did 4 or 5 records with them, but
oh, wow.
We did the extreme Porno Graffiti tour, and I think Danger was on it with us, and we did some shows in Chicago or something. But what I remember most is everybody ran out and got the Extreme Porno Graffiti record, because they thought it was all more than words. Then they listened to Get the Funk Out, and they listened to the rest of these songs that they played, and they didn't realize that they were a heavy band. They had a lot of returns on that, because people thought that was all what they were. But Extreme was huge, great band.
Oh yeah, I remember first time I heard Extreme. I mean, the first song I ever heard was Decadent Dance. I mean,
yes, awesome song,
super song,
awesome band, awesome song, awesome everything with those guys. But they're known for that more than words.
Yeah, I'm not going to even lie to you. I love that more than words song, but I'm aware, like you said, they're much more. I mean, especially if you listen to that first Extreme album, even the second one, I could kind of see why they picked Gary Cherone to, go into Van Halen. I mean, because
they're a great band live. They're great guys live. They're amazing songwriters. But if you go up to someone in the street, even like today, do you ever hear of Extreme? Maybe heard of them.
They did that more than...
everybody knows more than words.
Yeah, they're a one-hit wonder. They were that one-hit wonder band, and they got a lot more music than that. And it's kind of sad because they had such a huge hit with that song, yet it they got pigeonholed with that. And I think that's kind of a thing that's in your favor, Bill. The fact that, like you said, your songs sound very different from each other. And I think it's cool that people can't pigeonhole you, because then you're not going to fall into that trap. Whereas if you would have like a power ballad and have a success of that, all of a sudden you're going to kind of fall in that trap of, well, we got to do, if we want to continue to be successful, that's the type of stuff we have to do, or we have to, do that. But then you can kind of stay outside the box,
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, and I'm saying I'm going to mention some bands, and I love all of these bands. But I think you can relate to this.
Yeah.
Look at Shinedown. Did you ever hear Shinedown's first couple records? How heavy it was.
Oh yeah.
Then they started to write a hit, and what happens? They get stuck into that writing a hit, and they end up being almost a top 40.
Oh yeah.
Shinedown's great.
Yeah.
But they lost I think they lost some of their edge. Remember the Goo Goo Dolls?
Oh yeah.
Goo Goo Dolls. Listen to their first couple of records.
Yeah.
Angst, aggression, heavy, harder music. As soon as they write a hit, it went back to being radio, almost top 40. It's a double-edged sword. It's like you want that hit, and believe me, all these bands make tons of money from that, and nobody can fault them for that. But they lose. I think sometimes the bigger you get, the more pressure you have to write full mass songs, and then you kind of lose your identity in there somewhere.
You know?
Not that it's still successful, but it's a different type of success.
Yeah, that's why.
Into that mass appeal, and you lost that heaviness or your hard edge that you once had.
That's why if you look at some of your favorite bands, a lot of times the best album they ever did was like the debut album, because they lived with those songs for so long. They actually played those songs in the club. They were real hungry at the time, and you can tell they were really living the life. I mean, Motley Crue's perfect example.
Motley's a huge band. Motley really stayed. Motley's one of those bands and I'm friends with them.
Yeah.
They've really stayed true.
Yeah.
Vince and Nicky and Tom, they've really stayed true to what they've done. But let me give you another example.
Yeah.
Van Halen 1.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Phenomenal record.
Yeah.
Then listen to 5150.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your keyboards, and Eddie's playing more keyboards than guitar, and it's like Van Halen. Still to this day, I put on Van Halen 1, 2, Women and Children First, Diver Down, all those heavy music, and then you go from Van Halen 1 to 5150. Well, you see, they've had all this massive success, and they go on a limb to try and change it, but they kind of lost that Van Halen thing that made them so great. Yeah,
and I'm a huge Motley Crue fan like you, and I'll tell you what I really loved about the band Motley Crue is not just the music and the guys in the band, but like the fact that you could tell Nikki Sixx was the leader of that band. I mean, he had such a vision from day one. I mean, for example, you go back to Too Fast for Love, and they have kind of there's definitely a glam element to Too Fast, but it's more, to me, I hear more of like a punk edge. And then and then Nikki, you know, was like, I heard him in interviews talk about the fact that, okay, you know, with Too Fast for Love, you thought that's what Motley Crue was all about, and then I decided we're gonna go all black, we're gonna have red and blood in the photos, and we're gonna go all dark, and people are gonna think we're devil worshippers. And I mean, he thought all this stuff out, which, you know, most people just, I'm gonna go write a song and whatever comes out comes out.
He's brilliant.
Yeah,
he's one of the most brilliant. You know, there's guys, you know, and any guy, people can hate me and love me. I really don't care. But in terms of Nicky, people love him or hate him, but you cannot contradict what the guy has done. He was brilliant. He had a vision. He stuck to it. They've never sold out. Yes, they're coming back for a tour. Everybody knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, of course. What? Even I did.
Live Nation willing to throw them $150 million. I'd come out of tour too.
Yeah. And you know,
they're still relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still relevant even to right now. I mean, they haven't played together in a couple of years, but I mean, everything they put out is still under their own terms, and that's what's cool. They never sold out.
Yeah.
You know, he got the masters back from Elektra. He's a smart businessman. They never sold out. There's respect in that. They never let managers or sales or money change their focus. I mean, Theater of Pain went a little bit right. They did that stuff, but then they came back with other things, and it's like, you always know where Motley was. Motley was always Motley, but some of the bands, you got to look these days. I mean, they get a little bit of success, and they just think, we will forget our identity. Let's just write for the masses, and that's what I don't want to do. Yeah,
even like Metallica. I mean, I would say a lot of people point to the first three Metallica albums because those were kind of the most, you know, metal and had the original lineup and all that. And then kind of after, I mean, I remember for years that their big thing is, you know, we've been successful without even doing music videos. And of course, like you said, once the Black album hits and you have a kind of radio hits like that, you kind of, well, where do we go from here? You know, okay.
Exactly.
And so you've seen it happen. And the only thing I'd say, Bill, is talking now about your decision, because it was the idea to kind of just get some music out there in the meantime so people could kind of find out who the band. Because I would say my only complaint is like a four-track EP. Like, are you guys working towards a full length? Is that the plan?
Yeah, here's what it was. In a nutshell, and I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
The first time we're going to say this. This was a project band, meaning when we separated, we went our own separate ways with Kit and Kate, and everybody went their own ways. They all dabbled with other bands,
of course,
other things, but they've never done what we did with Kit and Kate. We were firing on all cylinders. We had a lot of tours, a lot of bands, a lot of stuff. It was great. None of us wanted to come back and do it half-assed.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it the same way, if not better. So when we got the crew together, we said, listen, you know, Johnny's got his own business. I've got a chain of restaurants. Chuck does his thing. Darren does his thing. Trevor does his thing. I mean, they're married. You know, they've got family. It's like we're not 20-year-old kids anymore.
Yeah.
So it was like, listen, we just can't sit there and say, all right, guys, let's get on a bus, crisscross the country, tour around. Let's build it like we used to when we were 20 years old and go and do this. We said, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this. We're going to record 4 songs. Everybody, I flew out there. They sent the tracks to me. I flew out there. We rehearsed a couple times. We didn't record it. And we said, listen, because this was a big concern for a lot of people, because we said, listen, the worst thing that can happen is it can be successful and have to leave your day jobs or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's like, well, shit, that's not, you know, we're not afraid to take that risk. So we all went in, we recorded it, and we recorded this back, this was probably last October, November, December.
Oh, wow.
And we said, you know, we said, listen, we're going to record these songs. As soon as we got done, I flew home. Everybody went back to their jobs. Nothing happened for like a week or 2.
Wow.
Then we convened and we said, okay, everything got mixed down. This stuff sounds really good. But everybody's still doing their jobs. Nothing changed. Then all of a sudden we said, okay, now we got to find a home for this. My first call was to Mark. I always give him the first chance if he likes it. Sent it to Mark at Pavement. He said, dude, I like this.
Wow.
So we said, okay. Then we signed a deal with him. And then we said, okay, guys, we're still not together, but let's go out there and at least do a show. I mean, we haven't done anything as a band. Let's at least go out. I flew out there for a weekend. We rehearsed, did a show, sold out. First show we did.
Oh, wow.
And then we said, oh, shit. Now we played a show. Now we've rehearsed a dozen times. Now we got a record deal. We're not even really, I mean, this isn't even really, you know, this was a project to see. So we said, all right, now we give it to Pavement. Pavement's team puts this thing out, and now it shoots up to the number 1 and 2 on the ads. And now we're sitting there scratching our heads going, holy shit.
What's next? What's
now
next?
what?
Yeah, yeah. Now let me ask you, like when you guys first got together and decided to put this band together, were the songs that are on the EP now, were these old written songs that you guys had from other projects, or did you write them?
No, this is all brand new stuff.
Great.
There was bits and pieces of demos from the previous incarnation, which was 91 Proof with Johnny, Trevor, and Chuck. But then they kind of were reworked once me and Darren got the mix, and then we recorded them a little bit different. Some of them are a little bit faster, some of them are a little bit slower. But the majority of these things, I think one or two were written, but then we wrote two new ones. So I would say this is still pretty much brand new, even though, like I said, they might have had a demo, a rough demo. But these are all pretty much brand new, written just for this.
So when you guys went in and recorded, like, were you in the same studio, the same room, or did you kind of?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's.
No, we didn't record it live. We recorded just like you do everything else. I would cut the drums, and the bass, and the guitars, and the vocals. So while everybody was there watching everybody do their parts, in case you wanted to change something on the fly, we recorded it traditionally as everybody else is doing it now. I've done live recordings in the past.
Yeah.
Back when there wasn't the Pro Tools, we had to actually play the whole song all the way through as opposed to cut and paste.
Yeah.
But this was, we did it with Frank Torres in San Diego. He sings for another band that we know out here called Unset. Great band. And we said, man, this guy's really got a great sound, what they do, and he's kind of the new up-and-coming producer out there. So we said, Frank, do you want to do this with us? And he said, absolutely. I got a studio. Let's go do it. We knocked it out over the course of a month or so. A couple of days here and there.
And talking about great chemistry right there. I mean, in over a month, I mean, I was laughing.
We do everything with people that we know. I mean, it was really, everything was comfortable. Everything was with people we knew. Everybody was with people that we knew would drive us a little bit more and push us to do better, as opposed to just a yes man that would say, okay, guys, that sounded good. Frank's really particular on the vocals. He did a lot of stuff on the drums with me. A lot of the production stuff, adding different sounds, and textures, and it was really cool because we really had no preconceived notions. We weren't really a band. There was no pressure. We didn't have a label at that time. We didn't even really have a band. We were basically just going to record 4 songs and see what happened. So it was like totally stress free. I mean, we paid for it on our own. So it was like there's really no pressure. All the other times you go in, you have X amount of time. There's pressure. You can't do stuff. You're using somebody else's money. And this time it was just cool because we really had nothing to prove. We didn't know if we were going to be a band or if we were going to play together or what was going to happen.
That makes it that much more fun that you guys just getting together kind of for the fun of playing together and seeing what happens. And look at what's happened. And it's great to have a label like Pavement behind you because for a simple fact, like you were saying earlier in the interview, Bill, that a lot of bands these days, don't even have record labels anymore. A lot of bands, they put out their own music independently, and there's pros and cons to that, of course. But now, like you were talking about too, the power of the internet. I mean, who's going to promote your band better than you, or the other guys in the band? Maybe the label behind you, but that's and the thing is too, the internet can be like a double-edged sword in the sense that a lot of these bands, because of the COVID-19 experience, they've been doing like special streaming events, and I don't know if you're aware of this, and a lot of the bands have been very successful, but I've been reading because these bands have had so much success with these special streaming things and events and stuff. Facebook, starting October 1st, is going to forbid people to allow bands and stuff to do any kind of streaming because I guess they want a piece of action because they see how successful it is.
Absolutely insanity to me, but I wish MySpace would come back.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I got my start doing what I do, these interviews and stuff, on MySpace back in like 2007. And it predates Facebook and used to be a great thing, but I kind of call it the digital graveyard because like I can't even find my site and and it's the weirdest thing. You can't really navigate like you used to because Facebook is such the big thing that it is now. But like I said, I have a friend in a band and he was telling me, he goes, the thing is, the bigger the band gets, the more Facebook tries to control. Like if they see your band's getting a lot of hits, they want to monetize it, and then they try to control how many people can see your newsfeed and stuff.
Well, that's why you got to utilize Facebook as a promotional tool to get people to your own website or to another site or something because they're just taking control of theirs. That shouldn't. I don't believe that should be allowed. I think yes, as a businessman, you should pay for it, but to sit there and see what people consume, what videos you think are good, and meanwhile, I can watch people getting beat up on Facebook, if they're going to let that stuff, be aired. But I can't air something or make a comment without being blocked on Facebook. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, unless you agree with it. I mean, that was originally like Twitter. That was originally the whole point of like something like Facebook. So you could you could network people. You could state your opinion. You could get involved in conversation. Now they're trying to edit what everybody says, and it's even based on they try to tell you if your opinion is correct when it's your opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and so let me ask you, Bill. So we're working now towards the full-length album. Now, when the full-length album comes out, do you think these 4 songs will appear on the full length, or are you just going to have all new songs on it?
Probably. We've already got probably 3 or 4 new songs in the bag now that are kind of along the same lines as Faded, maybe a little bit heavier, a little bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
But they're great because, I mean, that's really what the hardest thing is. How do you, and the thing with Kicking Kate was, how do you follow up what you did? And we couldn't. We could never get a single or another song that we thought could stand up to it. And then you just get writer's block and you get stagnant.
Yeah.
The key to this is, can you just keep writing songs? And the thing with us is, yes, these guys can keep writing songs.
So
that's what's good is the new stuff.
Yeah.
The new stuff I'm hearing is great.
So is everybody in the band, including you, Bill, do you get to contribute to the songwriting?
I do in an instance, only because I'm not there, but the rest of the guys are usually together every weekend, and they'll write. But I mean, they'll basically put a basic drum pattern together and say, this is kind of what we're thinking, and then once I get there, I kind of turn it around and move it, or I think it maybe should speed up. But we all pretty much have an equal say of what we're going to do, and everybody lets everybody else have space to kind of try different things, and then we, as a group, we decide whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, and we change it all together, and we shelve it.
Yeah, and I could see why you would be influenced by a band like Motley Crue or Nychay 6, because I don't know if you're at all a 6 a.m. fan, but what I loved about the band is
I love everything that they do.
What I loved about that band was the fact that Nychay 6 could have put another group of guys together and kind of had his Motley Crue version 2 or whatever, but he totally recreated himself with that. It's totally separate from Motley Crue.
Let me tell you, I mean, I don't know, did you ever listen to DJ's other stuff when he was in Beautiful Creatures?
Oh yeah. I mean,
that Beautiful Creatures CD was maybe, I think they signed him as the next Van Halen almost.
Yeah, I remember.
Bullet Boys didn't do it after Van Halen.
Yeah.
They thought the Beautiful Creatures, I mean, the production, Anthony Fox from Chicago, another guy that we knew, was in that band. But you talk about a band, man, that debut was huge. The production was huge. The way they looked was huge. The songs were huge. And then he gets James Michael, who was a solo artist. I've got James Michael's solo CD before he even joined 6 a.m. That was great. My buddy was Jeff Varner that ran 10th Street Entertainment, that was Motley Crue's management company.
Yeah, I don't know if you know.
Turned me on to James Michael.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that he, him and DJ, I guess the way kind of 6 a.m. came to formation is they co-wrote a lot of those songs on the album Saints of Los Angeles. DJ and James Michael. And they were kind of a background.
Which was a great song.
Yeah. But so that's kind of how that came together. Yeah, and Bill, you brought up the interview I did with your label mates, Diamond REXX, and I got to tell you, great band, as you probably know. You said you'd done some work with them before touring, and I tell you, I
did 4 records. I think I did 4 records with them.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That's cool. But what I was telling the singer Nasty Habits is because I'm a real fan of like theatrical rock. Like Kiss and Alice Cooper and Motley Crue. And I was telling him, man, and this is what I love about this label Pavement is you would have think like most labels probably said, oh, you guys have been around since 1985. You're dried up. Nobody cares about who you are. But like when I was interviewing him, he had such great stories. And then I went and checked out some of the music. And I asked him during the interview. I said, man, where have you guys been? You're like, I found out you guys have been together like since 1985, and you're the best kept secret. I mean.
Well, you got to know. I mean, Mark was their manager. Mark was our manager.
Wow.
Mark's the one that got the deal with Island in '85, I think. And then right after Island, Land of the Damned came out, I joined right after Rated Rex was already recorded. And then I did Golden Gates. I think that Resurrected. I did The Evil with them. I did. I think we did some other record. I forget the name.
Oh wow.
Mark's, like I said, Mark's been around almost all my musical career. I mean, he was their manager. He's the one that got him to deal with Island. And then when Island dropped the band, Mark formed Red Light Records.
Oh, wow.
And then Red Light put out all the Diamond REXX stuff. And then Mark went on to, I think it was Pavement again, and I think he did another one, was something else. I forget who else we were on. And then he did the Kitchen Tape record with me, and then obviously this one. So, I mean, Mark's one of those guys. He's like a chameleon.
Oh, wow.
He is a guy that has been around so long and has seen it all, and he's always there. He's like a Mike Tyson.
Oh, wow.
He'll always be around. You can never knock him down. We've all had our ups and downs, but he always shines through. He always keeps going forward, and he always gets good bands. And he knows the industry.
And
this was in the 80s, and Mark had the backing. That Mark could have been Warner Brothers. Mark could have been Geffen. Mark could have been all that. He's got that much knowledge and team around him, and he has an eye for talent. He knows. I mean, just look. I mean, he just put out a Rex record, 20 years or 30 years after they originally came out. He sees it, and he does things with his friends. I mean, there's nothing I won't do for him, and I know there's nothing he won't do for me.
Yeah, see, that's what I love about the label, because I get that feeling from people I talk to that it's kind of like a real family-oriented label in the sense that, look in the short time the label's been around, and just the roster of artists they got. I mean, so, and I think when you're dedicated like that to kind of, it's not all, I mean, of course they want to make a buck off, bands that are on the label, but it's not all about that. It's more about developing these bands, and I think they really do care, because like you're saying about your friend Mark, he tries to help out his friends, and and kind of both sides win. If you help your friends out, they need try and get their music out there. It's great music, people love it. Everybody wins, including the fans.
I mean, Mark's done so much. I mean, if you look, I mean, he had Dark New Day.
Yeah.
He's got PAVEMENT 5000. He's done stuff with a lot of these bands.
Yeah.
He's done stuff with bands that he gave a lot of these bands their start.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have to do a lot of the stuff he's done.
Yeah.
Is he the biggest label in the world? No, he's not. But you know what? He tries, and he gives bands these starts. And,
at least give them a chance.
Then bands go on and do other things.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot for the mid-level bands to get them out there. But then if you look, he's got the Puddle of Muds, he's got the Pantry, he's got the Candle Boxes, and Head PD, and Power Man, and Dishwalla, and even his band, The Outfit, is doing great stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's a guy that, he loves it for the love of music, and it's not he's making $1 gazillion,
Yeah, just for the love of it, and you can tell when people are doing something for the love of it or for the money of it, to make a quick dollar. And so Bill, I'd like to ask you, like, I always love to ask people, like in your case, you're a drummer, so what drew you to the drums originally? I mean, why did you pick the drums as your instrument?
I think back when I was probably 5 years old, I had this, I don't know if you guys remember Bozo the Circus, but it was a big TV show in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, well,
Yeah, it was a clown, and they had Bozo buckets, and those were my first drums. And then my dad was in Okinawa in the military, and he had these solid ivory chopsticks sitting in a curio cabinet. So what I did is I took a globe, and I turned it upside down, and I put it into a garbage can, so that was my first cymbal, the bass. And then I had the Bozo buckets, and I proceeded to take my dad's solid ivory diamond inlay chopsticks from Okinawa and shred it up to pieces. And I remember him beating my ass, saying, "You know how much these things would be worth? They're solid ivory from Okinawa, they're diamond inlay, and you just blasted them off on these buckets and this globe as your cymbal."
Wow.
I went out and I got me my first little Ludwig kit, and I blasted that thing. I think I was just a nervous kid with pent-up aggression and a lot of energy. And
a lot of drummers are, yeah.
Guitar, I'm not coordinated enough to do guitar. I mean, I'd love to be able to. I should joke. I said, let me just do a bass and maybe just ride a chord like Nicky Six a little bit.
Yeah.
Stand up front, pout.
Yeah.
Do that. I can't even do that. I mean, I'm just not coordinated to do that stuff. So, piano, I'd love to be able to play piano. I just wish, being a drummer, you can't write music.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy Lee does, but I mean, again, I can't play another instrument. I wish I could, because I have so many ideas in my head. But that's where, when these guys come up with the bones, I kind of throw some sugar on it.
Yeah.
That's my, contribution to try and write something.
That's why
I tell them, like, do like a, I tell them, like, I tell them what to play on the guitar, or I chicken pick it, something like that. But I don't know. I was just I was a nervous kid, and I thought, drums were cool and they're aggressive, and I was only 120 pounds, but maybe a little bigger than what I was.
Yeah, that's why when I see drummers like Don Henley or Phil Collins or even Roger Taylor from Queen or Peter Criss from Kiss, singing lead and doing the drums, that's a remark. I mean, you gotta respect what those guys do.
Mine was Peter Criss. I think the Kiss Alive 2 record.
Oh, wow.
When I saw how colorful and glittery it was, then I saw Motley Crue come out, and then I was in Tommy Aldridge or Ozzy. I was always like you, kind of the theatricals. It had to be more than just music. I was never into. I mean, I liked Rush, but that wasn't really my thing. It was too aggressive for me. I liked the bad, rude, loud, crazy, that kind of stuff. And then I guess that's what transformed me into Diamond REXX. I used to sit You know, because they're a little bit, obviously they're older than me, but I used to sit outside a club in Chicago called the Thirsty Whale, and I would listen to those guys play, and I thought, fuck, man, these guys are on island. They're playing this big club, which really, you know what, the club maybe hold 500 people, maybe 400 maybe, but it was always packed, and I'd sit outside the door, and I was 18 years old, and I'm like, man, these are like Motley Crue. This is like all the bands I want. I want to be in this band, and all of a sudden, my bass player in high school leaves our band, joins Diamond REXX, and then Diamond REXX loses their drummer, and then my bass player calls me and says, "You got to come in this band."
Yeah. So wow.
Here's the funny story: is here these guys look like Motley Crue. They all had different color hair. Andre had red hair.
Yeah.
Nasty had black. Tatone had brown, and Scott had blonde. Well, I had like middle of the length hair. I went in and got hair extensions.
Oh wow!
That's a story nobody knows. I had full hair extensions. I got the Tommy Lee Cage, and I went for the audition, and here I look like, you know, Tommy Lee with the Tommy Lee Cage with the crazy drums. And, I got the gig from Mark, and like I said, the rest was history.
Well, you know,
everything I've done since then is because of Mark.
Yeah, I heard Tommy Lee talk years ago about how he was heavily influenced by Peter Criss as far as his drumming, and it's kind of interesting that you know, you'd also be influenced by Tommy because you got that in common. And to go from like being a Kiss fan to, I would think, to be playing in a theatrical rock band like that, that's got to be a dream come true.
It was absolutely insanity. I mean, it was like you all of a sudden think about going into your job one day and you look like, you know, a mullet haircut, and then the next day you come in and your hair's down to your waist. Yeah. And people are going, "What the hell did you just do?" And I'm like, "It's over, man. I joined this band, and this is it. I'm gonna do this." And then actually, fast forward years later, all of a sudden become friends with these guys. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you know, playing shows with a lot of these guys. And then, you know, Seven Dust is one of my favorite bands to do shows with them, or Disturbed, like we grew up together in Chicago, Disturbed, and did shows with them, and we did stuff 3 Days Great. I mean, to play with all these bands that, you know, it's just a little bit of a mind warp. I mean, I'm just a little punk kid from a suburb in Chicago that joined this Diamond REXX that spawned me on to other and bigger. I've played with everybody, met everybody I wanted to see, done everything I wanted to do, but this thing that came out with us yesterday was there was a moment. I mean, just seeing your band's name on a Billboard chart, I've never done that before. It was like this culmination of years of playing and starving and
hard
not
work,
making any money and
hard work.
It made it all worth it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, good for you. And so I got to ask you, Bill. You talked a lot about some of your influences and stuff. Is there this may be hard to do, one or two, or even just one? Is there an album that kind of is in your collection that you could kind of point to? You know, you mentioned Kiss Life 2. I don't know if that's the one. And kind of say, that's the band, that's the album that kind of did it for me, that played a big role in me doing what I'm doing on the drums.
Motley Crue Shout at the Devil, and then I went backwards and got the other one, the first record.
Too Fast. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, when Motley Crue Shout at the Devil came out, it was already game, line, sinker, over, done. Yeah. I already knew, because I kind of knew the Kiss thing, but Motley, Kiss came out, it was theatrical, and I don't want to say, how do I say it in a nice, Motley was a little bit heavier. See, Motley was a little more,
Motley had a little more of a street edge, you know, to it.
Yes, and that's what appealed to me. Kiss was good, but they didn't have the, while they looked extreme, Motley, man, when Loose That Kill came out, game over. It's like the shade came down over my eyes, and it said, that's it. And then from there, huge Motley.
Yeah, I mean, with Shout at the Devil, you know, they took it kind of over the top, but I remember just seeing, like, the Livewire video from Too Fast, and you see Nikki Sixx's boots on fire, and it's like, and it was like a live video, and you're like a live performance. I'm like, I want to go see that band, you know.
Yeah, they just did. They had it all. And it's like almost like you wanted to be. I'm so bad, you know, kind of like Tim King's a huge Nikki Sixx fan, and I'm kind of like the Tommy Lee fan, where I wanted to be Tommy Lee, man. It was like the best life, and then you see him marrying Heather Locklear and Pamela Anderson. You're like, Jesus, he's driving Ferraris. It's like best drummer, best band, best girls, tons of. It's like this is what you wanted to be.
Yeah, I got to ask you.
Fast forward now.
Yeah, did you see that Dirt movie, Bill? What were your thoughts on that?
On which one, the Dirt?
Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, there's things on there that were, I think, correct.
And not correct,
yeah, I mean, there was things on there, but I mean, it's Motley.
Yeah.
With me, you really can't do wrong with Motley.
Yeah. I will say one thing about the movie.
It's for everybody in our band. I mean, Chuck's a huge Motley fan. We play Motley Crue songs at rehearsal.
I will say, like, the one thing about the Dirt movie, I was surprised. I didn't think they were going to even mention the fact that Vince was ever out of the band or give John Corabi even a mention. I mean, he got his 5 seconds in the movie. That was more than I thought he'd get, but kind of good for him. But the part of the movie I was kind of laughing about is at the beginning when Nicky and Tommy meet, and Tommy is supposedly like a diehard Nicky fan. He's like, "Oh man, dude, I'm such a fan. You and me got to play together." I don't know that it totally went down that way, but okay. They did it for movie purposes.
Let me tell you, on the same kind of lines, because you mentioned John Corabi.
Yeah.
Dude, that Motley record
was
insane. Everybody, I mean, and again, I'm friends with Vince, but, but this is credit where credit's due. That Corabi record was insane. I love the production. I love the sound.
Yeah,
everything about that record is
I'm with you. I've been a John Corabi fan ever since. I mean,
the Scream.
I mean, I agree with people that I think the problem is calling it Motley Crue. I mean, at the time they're trying to prove, we don't need Vince and this is Motley Crue. And they're trying to make a statement. Even Nikki Sixx in retrospect said, okay, maybe that was a mistake. But I think John is a huge talent. I mean, you look at any of the bands he's done. I mean, the Dead Daisies is probably, I guess he's working on a solo album or something now, but the Dead Daisies was the last thing he did. And that band, he kind of, people knew of the Dead Daisies, but they weren't as over the top as they are now. Not as many people knew about them until John joined the band. And now they got the legendary Glenn Hughes, so that's kind of an interesting band. And then Vince, I think, you say what you will, I think most people agree John Corabi's a better singer than Vince, but say what you will, but Vince is the voice of Motley. I think that's just, fans will agree with.
And he's gotten a bad rap. I mean, you look on the Black Mouse, and you look at a lot of these sites that, talk about, Vince, yes, he gained some weight. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
You know what? It's Vince Neil, man. This guy doesn't have to, he doesn't have to apologize or make an excuse for everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own issues.
Yeah, and not making excuses for anybody, but
you know what? You take him and go, listen, man, I'm Vince fucking Neil.
Yeah, I mean,
Motley Crue. Who's going to take away what he's done?
Yeah, and then at the same time, have you been through what that guy's been through as far as, losing a daughter at 4 years old, to cancer, so.
I golfed at Vince's golf outings. He used to have a golf outing every year at the Malibu Country Club for Skyler.
Yeah.
Vince is a nicer guy you'd ever want to meet. He's genuine. He's real. He's cool. He gets a bad rap because of what he's been through lately. Yeah. But man, the guy's a caring dude.
Yeah.
People got to give the guy a break.
I think so. Yeah, people are too. Unfortunately, people are too judgmental.
Yep.
So Bill, I'd like to thank you for taking time to talk to me. I could talk to you all day, as you can see, but because I'm really a big fan of what you guys are doing. So let's keep in touch, and anytime you got another single or something to promote, we'll do it again. Okay.
Yep, you got it.
And like I said, I'll let Barbara know about the interview. It'll be going up in early October, probably within the first week or two. Okay.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.